Representative Summers. Then the author will close. Sponsor yield? He yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Westcott, I was a little late getting to session today. Forgive me. Could you please give me a practical application for this piece of legislation?
In my opening statements, I gave a real case of the Arlupa law, which is a federal law that applies to prisons and land use and mirrors the federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act. And it had to do with a Muslim prisoner who had a religious belief to grow a beard, and the prison required him to shave the beard. And so that he sued the prison, and that went all the way to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court ruled that, yes, this was a substantial burden to his religious exercise. There was a compelling interest, but not in a compelling enough to keep him from having a short beard, and therefore the least restrictive means is to allow him to have a half-inch beard. So his religious exercise, even in prison, was protected by this test.
Okay, I appreciate that one. Could you give me a Christian example?
Take, for instance, the Amish up in my community that have for many years objected to having their face on an ID for multiple purposes. The Amish are Christians, and this bill would allow them to appeal to the government, work out a solution wherein the government allows them to have some form of ID that doesn't necessarily violate their religious belief.
And we had that here.
We have had this situation in
Yes.
Indiana.
Okay. And next, the last thing I want to show you is something that came across Facebook over the weekend that is happening in Texas, where storefronts in Texas were, I want you to see, where storefronts in Texas were giving a emblem to put on their stores that say that they only serve white. Do you think that would happen under this piece of legislation?
Absolutely not.
And why not?
And here's why. The Supreme Court has expressly stated in the case of Bob Jones University that preventing racial discrimination is a compelling interest on the part of the government, and therefore the religious exercise of an individual, even if they were claiming that on a religious claim, would not be able to be defended under this law whatsoever.
Okay. The color of my skin I get discriminated against. The color of your skin you don't.
I'm not sure.
Permission to speak.
You're recognized to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. We do things in this legislature that makes no sense and that has no practical application as far as my life is concerned, as far as me being an African-American female in Indiana. We do a lot of things that do not have practical application for a lot of people. And I just think that when we're in this bubble, we do not see how it affects other people. I have told Representative McMillan I love his little son, but he's scared of me because of my color. And that's horrible. It's true. And that's, and that's something that we are going to work on. We've talked about it and we're going to work on it. I ask him, please, introduce your child to some people of color so that he won't live his life as a prejudiced person. I would like for you all to not vote for this bill. Thank you.
Author has the right to close.